While Michael Russo, The Athletic, theathletic.com, at Russo Hockey via X. Michael, good morning. And why exactly are you in Cleveland?
I'm covering the rivalry series. USA Canada plays a game here on Thursday night, tomorrow night, and then a game in Buffalo on Saturday night, and then they play two games in Edmonton as well. Then that's in December. Then they'll be both teams will be picking pretty much cutting down their rosters to the teams that we'll see in Milan during the Olympics.
7 Minnesotans on the USA roster, right?
Yeah, 7 Minnesotans, six women that are on the Frost, I believe, 6 or 7 when I looked at it. And this is going to be a good learning lesson for me because Haley Salvin, our excellent women's hockey writer, is with me here in Cleveland, and I'm essentially like an intern. I'm going to be shadowing her today, covering, I believe, the game solo in Buffalo, and then I'll be solo in Edmonton, and I'm going to be covering women's hockey as well as men's hockey in Milan. So, one of the smart things that I think that we did at The Athletic is have me start to be around these two teams and learn the players, learn everything, meet the right people, and hopefully I'll be able to do a adequate job when I'm in Milan.
Well, there are other names, but like Taylor Heisey, Grace Zumwinkle, Kelly Panic. I mean, you had to have met them in your hockey walk of life, right?
Yeah, Hillary Knight, and I see a lot of these girls because their locker room is literally right next to where we hang out as press during Minnesota Wild practices. So I've met a lot of them. Obviously, I've watched a lot of them play for the Frost. We all know how incredible a player Taylor is. So I'm really looking forward to this. To tell some really good stories. Which is, what you want to do at the Olympics as well for both the men and the women is, it's not so much about the game coverage as it is the storytelling. And so, I think it's important for me to start to really learn these teams and learn these players for not just the United States, but Canada and make sure that we're doing a really good job because we're sending about 30 of us over to Milan, but only 4 or 5 of us are covering the hockey. And so Haley and I will be covering women's and I think it'll be an absolute blast.
Well, I mean, looking at this from afar after talking with you yesterday, the Wisconsin Badgers women's hockey team, just must be that of immortality. I think there are like 7 Badgers or something on the USA roster.
Yeah, and what's really cool, I'm looking forward to doing a feature on Robo, the coach for the women's team, because he's got his fingerprints not only on their roster but the men's. I mean, he's coached at the Ann Arbor program, he coached Matt Boldy, coached the Kachuk brothers, the Hughes brothers, and a lot of other players that will have a chance to maybe make the United States men's team. So, it's a really cool story of this coach that's now, transitioned to coaching the women's roster here and how he's really on both Olympic teams going to be shaping it up. But to your point, Wisconsin has an excellent program, a lot of really good players. Up and down the lineup, if you look at the girls, that are quote unquote trying out for the American team, they'll only have 3 or 4 cuts by the time Edmonton comes around afterwards. They come from all over the United States, and that just again shows just how big the sport is becoming in this country.
And lastly here, this rivalry series, who's, and this may be a dumb question, but generally speaking, or maybe even now, who's overall better and why? USA or Canada?
Well, I think the United States are going to have an incredible time. I wouldn't say that I'm that I know everything about both these teams, but I can tell you that the times I watch them on NHL Network, the United States seems to have the upper hand. I went to one of the games in San Jose either last year or 2 years ago. And it's a lot of the same girls that are going to basically be representing the United States at the Olympics, and the United States absolutely trounced Canada at the game that I went to. So I think look, these are obviously going to be the 2 elite nations in Milan that are going to be going for the gold medal. I think that the United States right now probably has the upper hand, and that would be incredible.
Michael Russo at Russo Hockey via X. He's in Cleveland for the USA-Canada rivalry series, which begins tomorrow night, I believe, on NHL Network. With the Minnesota Wild, confusing ending to the Wild game last night. The Wild get 2 in OT against Bruno, and it was a win that left several Predators thinking they got ripped off, right?
Yeah, McCarron after the game told me that he thought that they got screwed. So you're exactly right. I mean, they weren't leaving the bench. They wanted a full explanation. And you're right. It was a confusing way to end the game for myriad reasons. One, the Wild weren't very good last night. Two, that Steven Stamkos scored with 0.3 of a second to even put the Predators in that position to have a chance to get the extra point in overtime. And then obviously the awarded goal. It starts in the defensive zone where Eric Haula had his pocket picked by Marcus Johansson, and a really good odd man rush led by Kaprizov over the net and over the line. And you know, the way that I look at it, when I look at that replay and also having the context of what Annunen, the goalie for Nashville, was doing multiple times in that game, you know, Kaprizov, he thinks is going to one-time it. There's no defensive help, and he pushes the net right off the moorings. This was not, and I've gotten multiple, by the way, unsolicited texts from goalies, current and former NHL goalies today, that said he was absolutely pushing the net off the mooring.
Right.
This was not your typical push from side to side. In fact, if you look, he doesn't even try to get to the right side. His intent was to ruin the scoring chance and push the net off the moorings. And in that case, in an imminent scoring chance, it's supposed to be awarded a goal. Now, the difference here is that Kaprizov then decided to pass the puck. It was a deflected puck that Johansson was trying to put in. It hit the side of the net that was already dislodged. And then what he did is he put the rebound through where the goal would have been. And if you look at the referee here, and again, not saying he's right or wrong, the league obviously agreed with him. He doesn't signal good goal on the first attempt. He signals it on the second. So in his opinion, especially with no defender around, his opinion was that this continued an imminent scoring chance, and this would have potentially been a goal if the net wasn't pushed intentionally. I'm saying intentionally. It could be deliberate or accidental if it wasn't pushed off the mooring. So I just think that if you look at the play overall, and he did this in the second period too on a Wild power play, I just think if you look at the actions of him all night, is that he just seemed to be wanting to push the net off the moorings on scoring chances. So I think that it was an illegal act. And I think they got the call right. I know that there's obviously a lot of Predators fans that disagree. I'm sure there's a lot of gamblers that totally disagree, that might have had the Predators winning that game. And, obviously there are some people in the hockey world that also disagree. The league agreed. It probably wasn't, I don't think it was good protocol by either referee. They never once explained to the crowd what was going on. You know, we were just watching it from afar. Even when he signaled good goal, Trevor Hansen, he just went right up to Andrew Burnett to explain his decision, never explained it to the fans. So there was just a lot of confusion last night, but I still think that Annunen did something intentional and deliberate and illegal. And you know what? Karma, he's not going to do it again. I guarantee you that.
Michael, with Coach Hines joining 45 minutes from now, let me vet something out with you before I chat with him, just to make sure I don't make a mistake. So so Stamkos ties it with 0.3 remaining with that bomb from the circle to the right of Gus. All right, 35 years old, Stamkos still bringing him. I get that. But with the Eriksson net clear, he did the right thing. It just hit an official, right?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was a great play by the defenseman, even to be able to then corral that puck immediately and somehow get it over to Stamkos, and then Stamkos to get a shot. It was just a perfect storm. I get it. We're all playing Monday morning quarterback, and you look at it and you look at the time of the clock with 3 or 4 seconds left, and you're just when the goal goes in, you're just saying, all right, you had 3 seconds, just eat the puck, go into the corner. He was being pressured, and I think that again, we're all sitting on our couches up in the press box, watching on TV. We're not in the heat of battle in the arena. And I think that he just figured, at a minimum, I'm just going to be able to bang this off the boards or off the glass and out of the zone and kill the rest of the clock. He didn't anticipate that it would hit the official. The official is part of play. And it went right to their defenseman, who made an exceptional play, and it was just the perfect goal by Stamkos. So I know it's all easy for all of us to sit there and blame Eriksson Ek for that. But again, it's 3 or 4 seconds left. If that thing doesn't hit the official, it probably is out of the zone.
Yeah.
It's easy for us to all say eat the puck in that circumstance, but he is the one that's in the heat of battle. He's been on the ice for a long time, hadn't done well on faceoffs, and that's one reason why they were in that position. And I think that he just figured I could just whip this thing out of the zone, and unfortunately it just wound up going to them. And in the end, the Wild got the second point at least, but they did give a team that's ahead of them in the standings a point. And the Wild have done that a couple times now this season. They blew a 3-0 lead at home against LA and gave them a point. So that needs to stop because, as we saw last year, the Wild made the playoffs in a tiebreaker that took a miracle by Eriksson Ek. If Eriksson Ek doesn't score that goal with 20 seconds left in game 82, the Wild don't make the playoffs. So these points matter. And the Wild have put themselves in a position where they got to start getting regulation wins and stop giving their division and conference opponents points that are unnecessary.
Russo Radio, tell me what you think about this. Kirill Kaprizov is the best overall player on the Minnesota Wild. He's the one that captures the most attention. Marcus Johansson, this year, he's not far behind, right?
Well, he's been extremely good. I mean, there's no doubt about it, and a lot of that has come because he's wound up on that line with Kaprizov. He has a 6-game point streak, 5 goals in that stretch. I tweeted out today because I was just walking through the airport and thinking about this, and I looked it up on his game logs. But last year, he got his 6th goal in the 57th game, and now he has 6 goals in 14. And last year, he got his 12th point in 27 games, and he has 12 points now in 14. So he's playing excellent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I give him all sorts of props. He's 3 games from a huge milestone in his career. It's one of the big reasons why he wanted to come back to the NHL this year and play only for the Wild. And he signed a real budget-friendly deal, that's for sure, at $800,000, which is essentially the league minimum. And right now he's been as good as we've ever seen him, probably since his beginning of his second stint here when he got here and started playing with Eriksson Ek and Boldy. So he's playing great. We'll see what happens now because Zuccarello, yesterday when I was talking to Bill Guerin in the press box, it sounded like that he was expecting Zuccarello would be on this trip. They play tomorrow at Carolina and Friday at the Islanders. I can't imagine that they would have him play back-to-back. So there's a really good chance that if Zuccarello is on this trip, that we're going to see him on Long Island on Friday. Well, that, almost certainly, I would think that Zuccarello goes immediately back with Kirill. And if that is the case, then Johansson probably goes down to the second line, then Tarasenko goes to the third. So how does now Johansson being away from Kaprizov, assuming that happens, affect him? We'll have to see. But right now, he's been really, really good.
That's a great point. Zeev Buium, has Zeev taken just a leap year 2, or is this turning into a massive leap?
You know what? I missed. We had a little dead spot there. What do you ask?
Zeev Buium, he's taken a leap, yep. But is this embarking on potentially a massive jump?
Well, I think he's going to be a star in this league. I remember Brock Faber, was kind of treading along his first month and a half in the NHL. Then actually John Hines took over and he absolutely took off and wound up winning, being a Calder Trophy runner up and got the huge deal. And I think that Zeev is slowly biding his time. He has started playing third pair. A lot of the reasons was to try to get Middleton away from Juracek and Spurgeon away from him and start to get everybody feeling a little bit maybe more normal. I think Zeev and Juracek have had good moments and bad moments, but so have every player on this team and every defenseman on this team. I think, we see Zeev come out there yesterday. He's now getting second power play minutes, and he comes out there and immediately scores a goal. I'd like to see, like in New York right now, Matthew Schaefer, who's probably the favorite to win the Calder Trophy, he's getting a ton of minutes. He's the first overall pick, but he's playing in every situation. Lane Hudson last year in Montreal, the Canadians really dealt with his early season defensive struggles, and he turned into a player that erupted and wound up winning the Calder Trophy. What I'd love to see from the Wild is just giving Zeev a little more rope. Understand that, look, he needs to be coached here. Maybe they'll start doing this in a month, but, let's see him more on the power play and get more minutes. 3-on-3 is an area where we haven't seen him on the ice yet, and that should be where his cup of tea is. He's got a long career ahead of him. Obviously, there's trust, there's conflicting interests here, right? John Hines needs to keep his job. He needs to win, and he trusts guys like Marcus Johansson. Jared Spurgeon, players that are veterans that are playing above guys like Danilo Urov, Ogren, who's in the minors, now Zeev and Juracek. But at some point here, I think they got to give him a little more rope and let's see what he has. But he's got a long career ahead of him. He's gonna quarterback the number one power play for the rest of the time here in Minnesota. So if it doesn't happen right now, I don't think fans need to get totally frustrated, but I do think that he is just an absolutely special player.
A couple of quickies to close here, Michael, if you have time. For Bruno's Preds, for the Predators, Matthew Wood, the former Gopher, he scored last night. Is he pretty good?
Yeah, he is. He is gigantic, too. I had no idea until I saw him in the hallway yesterday before the game. He is, and then he scored just a terrific goal. So I think that, I think the Predators, look, they're struggling right now. They're especially struggling to score goals. I could talking to Barry Trotz yesterday, he's not exactly happy. Bruno's not been exactly happy. Stamkos is somebody that they obviously gave a big ticket. He had a tough first year there. His shot volume is significantly down. Yesterday was his first point in 9 games. Marchessault hasn't been as good. They still have issues up the middle there in Nashville, and so I think that they are a team that still has a lot to prove. But Wood's going to be a really good player for them, and we'll see how they continue to do here. They go to New York at the end of this week, and then they head to Sweden to play the Penguins, and kind of on that same Global Series trek that the Wild had a couple of years ago. And but Bruno, I know is it's been tough times, and I know he's trying to get them to right the ship. I thought they played great yesterday. I thought they checked really well, made life very difficult for the Wild, and the Wild are lucky that they got 2 points. They're lucky they got 1 point, let alone 2, actually, the way that they played yesterday in the second and third periods.
Yeah, I agree. And they run a back-to-back with travel, 0-2 on back-to-back into that game. And they muddled the game. They just mucked it up with the best chance, giving them the best chance to win. And they're winning all the right faceoffs late in the game. So they really, really brought it for Bruno yesterday, man.
I think lost 3 faceoffs down the stretch there, and that's one reason they had the one shift in the second period that the Wild escaped, where the Hartman line was out there for 3 minutes, and then Tarasenko just would not get off the ice, kept on turning the puck over. So it was a weird game. The Wild somehow prevailed.
Hey, and speaking of Gophers, and away from last night, how high end is Logan Cooley? I mean, 12 points in 13 games and 8 goals. That guy's phenomenal.
Yeah, he is going to be a thorn in the side of the Wild for a long, long time. I mean, if you had a redraft right now, I know it's early, but he might go 1 or 2 in that draft. And it was the 5th overall pick, and he just looks like. I mean, what scares me about the Utah Mammoths is that all their guys, maybe except for Nick Schmaltz, all their guys are signed long term. All their young core, from Clayton Keller to JJ Peterka to Dylan Gunther to Logan Cooley. And I think I'm forgetting one. I mean, they are just an excellent, fast hockey team. I think they still need a little more meat, in their bottom 6. But they are, to be able to compete in the playoffs. But Logan Cooley is going to be somebody that, I really think that Bill Guerin's got to give him a shot to make the Olympics. It might be a little too soon for that, considering how many incredible American hockey players are and where they are at center. I wrote a USA sort of projection story the other day, and Jack Hughes has been one of the best players with Jack Eichel of all the Americans in the NHL this year. He really struggled in the Four Nations at wing, so they're probably going to move him to center, and if they move him to center, that's going to make it a little tougher for Logan to make the team, but he is going to be just a superstar in this league, I think.
All right, lastly, first winning streak of the season for the Wild, now to Carolina tomorrow night, then at the Islanders, back-to-back, Calgary here to close the weekend. Next 3, how many points should we expect from the Minnesota Wild?
Yeah, I think you want to get at least 4. I mean, obviously they want to go clean it up. I mean, Carolina is a great hockey team. I spent some time around them a couple weeks ago for a couple stories that I was working on. But they are injury riddled right now. They're getting some guys back. They went into Madison Square Garden yesterday and shut them out. But the Rangers are just reeling right now. So, look, you want to win that game. Second back-to-back at the Islanders, a physical team that's been playing much, much better. Has some fresh young youth with guys like Simon Holmstrom and Matthew Schaefer. I mean, that's going to be a tough second back-to-back. But you better beat Calgary when you come home. I mean, that team stinks. And so that's why I say if you can just look, when I talked to Rod Brindamore, last year's Wild game in Carolina. He says that's the best that any team's played them in the regular season. And Gustafson was phenomenal, but the Wild went into Raleigh last year and played a tremendous game. So if you could just win that one, then roll the dice in New York, where the Wild had that bad loss last year that really almost unraveled their season, and then come home and beat Calgary, you're starting to look much, much better in the standings.
Thanks, brother. Safe travels, all right?
All right, see ya. Take care.
Yep, see you, bud. Marathon segment thanks to Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com with Michael Russo. Russo Radio was in the air. We head into the second part of the radio program, and Nordo is going to guide us through a muddied version of the NFC. That's around the corner, but first this.
The Fan, along with two men in a junk truck, they want to give you a chance at some bonus bucks, national cash contest style. Go to KFAN.com, enter the keyword bills. You might win some money to pay some bills with the keyword bills at KFAN.com.
34, it's 9 to noon.
Did you stumble upon like some spaceship sounders?
I just, I've hit, I think it's this one. Yeah, so many times today. It's not that I'm looking for like 5 options. I'm just looking to replace it and try and do. That's the beauty of this job, is we can sample. It's like working in the culinary field and like being on radio or TV, preferably TV. They can line things up in front of you and say, which one do you like most? That ain't gonna be it. Oh, it's a car crash.
Jeez.
I think maybe the one you put out there first for years might be the best one.
I think that's the one.
Yeah.
I like that
one.
Two receivers left and right, Favre out of the shotgun.
Yeah, we hit a wrong one there. Okay. Look what I found. Friday football feast. Buffalo Wild Wings, Elk River at 9:15. This guy.
It's 3rd and 10 from the Vikings 14. Two receivers left and right. Rivers shotgun. Vikings rush 4. Phillip dump over the middle. Ball's batted in the air.
There it is.
Intercept.
All right, I'm just going to stick with Viking Sounder A.
Oh, no, I think that's the best one. This is so.
Look at this. Look at all this treasure that's hidden here in news. Holy cow.
No, this system's just full of it.
All of this stuff been all my life. What is this?
And the Vikings offense, now orchestrated by Kevin Stefanski, trots onto the field after the Tuesday dismissal of offensive coordinator John DeFilippo.
It's a Dolphins game?
Yeah, it's 3 minutes 43 seconds of December 17th and the Calm's first game.
I got to actually. Jeez. Gosh, now this is on air production. Do we have all the Vikings Dolphins?
I don't know. Dolphins what? No, this is in a separate spot. This is by the Sounders.
Okay, Dolphins.
And you know what's on the horizon a month and a half from now?
Merry Christmas, Vikings fans. You are the best. Here we go.
Here we go.
On the first day of Christmas, my Vikings gave to me a topsy-turvy season in the Purge.
Oh, we're in the Purge 2020. I think Nordo and I did that song wearing masks.
That's why it sounded a little muddled.
Well, you just had me remembering because earlier in the week I was giving Bursich some heck because he absolutely lost it on the Jamison Williams push-off. And I think he's right. He had a right to be mad, but how much he hates his rivals. There was a Dalvin Cook touchdown.
Yeah, you're right.
In that 2019 Dolphins game when Stefanski took over, or 2018 game.
Yeah. Where
he does a spin move on somebody and gives the peace sign to the end zone.
There we go!
And it sounded like Bursich, let's just say he strained something so badly he had to check his pants after the game when Dalvin put that spin move on the linebacker.
And that one was here?
That was at U.S. Bank, yeah.
Yeah, because remember the last time we played the Dolphins down there, we played against the Gink. The Gink. The Gink is on fire. The Gink was on the other team.
Yeah, 2022.
And Dalvin Cook scored that touchdown and threw the ball up into the stands.
Yes, he did. He went from 53.
Mm-hmm.
But that had me thinking back that 2018 season where DeFilippo gets canned because he doesn't want to run the ball. Awful loss at Seattle. Mm-hmm. Doesn't even get to take the team plane home, basically. And then what does Stefanski do? Smartly, eventual 2-time coach of the year. He's like, we're going to run for 200 on the Dolphins.
Yeah.
New guy rolls in.
Yeah.
You want me to run the ball? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go.
So that rushing touchdown, you say?
Yes.
1st and 10 from the Miami 18. Handoff Latavius.
Latavius.
He gallops to the 15, to the 10, to the 5. And touchdown! Latavius Murray runs into the end zone from 18. And the Vikings lead 20-0.
Might be this one.
1st and 15 from the Dolphins, 21. Cousins from under center hands it to Dalvin. He spins away from a Dolphin at the 15. Inside the 5. Touchdown!
Is that the one?
I think that's the one. Can you start it over so I can hear the... I want to hear it one more time with the...
Let's bet. Oh, is that what it is? Because here's the other.
Handoff, Dalvin Cook. He swings it around the left side. Turns it up at the 10.
No, that's
to
not
the
the right
5. Touchdown!
It's the spin move.
1st and 15 from the Dolphins, 21. Cousins from under center hands it to Dalvin. He spins away from a Dolphin at the 15. Inside the...
Oh, that's terrific. All right, 10:39. What you got up your sleeve with something you told me about multiple days ago, and here we are on a Wednesday unfurling it.
Well, here's just me being a Rube PA. Is you have your best win of the season. You have maybe as healthy as you've been all season in terms of the roster.
Time. No need to rush this because we have opens after Heinze.
Yes, we do. But just looking at kind of the shape of the NFC, I mean, I'll be honest with you, PA. After the shellacking that the Vikings took to the via the Chargers at SoFi, I'm not saying season's over. That's just not how I've ever looked at things.
Yeah.
But you start thinking, okay, final 10 games of the season. You're a 3-4 team. You've been beaten and battered the entire way. You're exhausted. Let's just get the kid QB back and see what we have in J.J. McCarthy.
Yeah.
If you are a 7 or an 8 win team, but you know in January that either this could be a problem or this is a platform to build with in number 9, I think that's a W in terms of the long term of the organization. And I'm not a defeatist, but
I know what you mean.
But after what we saw, the 37-10 debacle, I'm starting to think and change my face in terms of what to expect out of this group. Well, 10 days later, they go to Ford Field and they handle business. So now suddenly, because I'm a child and my emotions ride the roller coaster of wins and losses on a week-to-week league, I start to look at things. And I'm thinking, okay, 4-4. Don't like that. Could have gotten the Steelers W, and we can play the hindsight game. But this NFC is super muddy, and effectively, all these teams in one way or another have warts. We saw the warts of a Philadelphia Eagles team. Very beatable, very game for a W at US Bank Stadium. We could not capture that, but we saw it. The Bucs at 6-2. You know, at one point you're talking about Baker Mayfield being an MVP candidate, but how beaten and battered are they down in Tampa right now? If you're listening to WDVE and you're checking out and taking calls and Rubes are hitting the text line, iHeartRadio go crazy, they're talking about how beaten up and battered they are right now in a division that should be a walk, but depending upon how Penix and the Falcons operate, may not be.
I don't know how much over here you can see, but it's like when I get into the Laron. Well, what's the Laron? It's the Prophet.
Indeed.
And I start like scrolling up and down and stuff. Or when I get into the sneaky news or bits or beds or whatever, your speech always pauses. So you're like, well, Van Ginkel, and then I get into the bit. Well, Van Ginkel did this, and then I stopped, and you're like, and he had what's Paul doing over there? Is he trying to mess up the entire spot set?
Well, I'm just waiting.
Sorry.
I'm waiting for you to jump in with like an old Ray Edwards sack highlight.
I'm just enjoying your repartee.
So, but that's kind of the frame of this, and maybe after Hines, whether it's I have a few highlights in the mix and just kind of breaking things down.
Well, why wouldn't we?
The situation for the Vikings, this is stone cold obvious to most, is of course win the division games, right?
Yes or no?
Absolutely. Teams 2-0 on the road in the division, and so you love what you're seeing there, and we're going to have Bears and Packers a couple of weeks from now. So
we'll win them both.
Get those W's in the division. But really, the way this thing is framing up is who's going to send 3? Will it be the NFC North? or will it be the NFC West? Because you're looking at two divisions right now that certainly are three deep of organizations that are game for postseason action. And that would be, of course, the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings. If what we saw on Friday is not an aberration, and what we saw on Sunday is not an aberration, and we can build on that against Lamar this weekend. But out in the West, man, everybody may have warts. But whether you're looking at the Niners that are 6-3, how wrong was I about them, man? They are beaten and battered, and they're figuring it out with Mac Jones, and they got McCaffrey and Kittle healthy. Still no Ayuk. They're hoping for Ricky Pearsall. All the things that are going wrong with that team, they just continue to win games. And the schedule for the Niners, about as easy as any schedule in the NFL down the stretch. The Seahawks, I think they're going to have some problems with the QB in some spots if you can get them in those spots.
That's a big proclamation right there.
However, McDonald's 11-1 on the road.
Wow.
Defense is playing well.
Jeez.
They can run the ball a little bit. I think they like that Torrey Horton?
Yep.
The rookie, and
yeah,
Jackson
he's a good
Smith
kick
and
returner
Jigba.
too.
But they just added Rashid Shaheed, that deep threat from the Saints.
Yeah.
So that's a team that's going to be tough to take down, and we're going to get to see them at Lumen in a few weeks on the road for a 3 p.m. game.
Can't wait.
And then the Rams really they lose I think an OT game to the Niners, and then they lost in that defensive touchdown to the Eagles. Otherwise, the Rams are good, man, and the Rams are getting real healthy. So who's going to send three in a conference that has so many warts? Will it be the NFC West or will it be the NFC North? And just kind of looking down the road, we can still handle our business and hoist an NFC North crown, but it's going to get very crowded among those wild card teams. And I think it's either West or North, and how we can position ourselves within that muddy mix.
I have a suggestion. Let's pay that off with opinions.
Wild.
Following Heinze at 11 o'clock.
I dig it.
But News du Nord is next.
What up? It's News du Nord, which is brought to you by the Casino at Canterbury Park, CanterburyPark.com.
Beef.
And you can... I almost went into the Thousand Hills read, as you said, beef.
It's beefy out there.
Canterbury is awesome, by the way, and you can feel the felt. It's poker, it's blackjack. It sounds like there's some cool $10,000 giveaway bits that you can be a part of just by going there and having a blast. The dealers are cool, the vibe's fun, and they treat you like they actually enjoy having you there, which is a nice change. And you can have sips and chips, live racing off for the season, of course. But Thursdays, tomorrow, go down to Shakopee because it's the NFL Pro Pick'em Challenge. And you just pick the NFL games over the weekend, and you have a weekly winner, a little walking around money. A winner at the end of the year, however, will get free fuel for a year thanks to Quick Trip. So thank you, Canterbury. Thank you, Quick Trip. How about
and
this?
Thank you, Nords.
How about this? Let me find it here. There we go. I saw this, and it's been other places. Sam Amick. You're probably familiar with him.
I think he's NBA.com.
Well, he's a senior writer for The Athletic now.
I think he's not.
But he says the Minnesota Timberwolves are monitoring Ja Morant's situation in Memphis. And here's the quote courtesy of NBA Central.
Wait, is Shams Athletic?
Shams is ESPN now.
Okay, my
I
bad.
think, yeah.
Yeah.
He took over maybe the Woj job.
Got it.
But the Minnesota Timberwolves, per a team source, he says, are one, assumingly of the teams monitoring Ja Morant in Memphis. Ditto for the Sacramento Kings. The Grizzlies' next opponent, the Houston Rockets, need a point guard after losing Van Vliet to a torn ACL in the preseason, but per a team source are unlikely to pursue him. That's just a sample size of what might be out there and not out there if the Morant sweepstakes ever actually begin. So some reports that what per team source, he says, that the Wolves and what level of monitoring, quote unquote, is going on, who knows?
Yeah.
But Ja Morant, as you were telling me, I was not aware of. Sounds like not all things are rosy down in Memphis, but the Wolves looking at a point guard spot. We're trying to sell ourselves, and we're rooting and hoping that DiVincenzo can do it. Who's been much better, but maybe he just wears the mask the whole season. And the mask apparently allows him to hit 6 threes like he did the other day.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I'm casting my gaze way down the line here, and I like Dante DiVincenzo on this team. I mean, I don't
think it's a long-term issue option.
From a playoff game standpoint, I mean, you might want to think about that a little bit.
Well, not just that, but Dillingham still has a chance to grow in all of those things. But did you ever feel like maybe you'll talk about it because I think Finchie might join us tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Just in terms
Finchie
of
at 9 a.m.
I heard something, and this is almost a week ago now, but Terrence Shannon Jr. was kind of, he was talking about his own game and just how he felt like he hadn't been assertive enough, that he wasn't being aggressive enough in some spots. And I'd just like to hear through, 6-7 games with Finchie, just kind of what he thinks, whether Terrence Shannon Jr., big opportunity for him, but also, and I know he had a nose issue as well, so that kept him out of the mix and kind of staggered his flow into the season. But Dillingham, what do you think through this stretch as well? Mm-hmm. You were talking about Rudy earlier with Parker, and I thought that conversation was fun to hear during the opening segment. So just kind of where Finchie's head's at on some of that stuff. But, I mean, if you're just thinking about, like, personalities in the NBA, I mean, if everybody's healthy, you might have the most athletic court in the NBA if you added Ja Morant to the roster. I don't know how far you could go down the road of relying on him as it pertains to some weird ankle bit that'll inevitably pop, a hamstring thing of some sort. There'll be missed games. Maybe there's an attitude. He's already been suspended for a game once this year for, I think it was like conduct detrimental to a team. I think he freaked out on his own team and had to be suspended for a game. Good player, costs about $40 million based on his contract. So I don't know how that all works. Sounds like you're talking about maybe your starting center or maybe a certain 3-and-D wing player that we're still told is just a star waiting to burst in Mr. McDaniel. So I don't know how any of it will work, but apparently the Wolves are monitoring Ja's situation in Memphis.
Yeah, with Finch joining 9 to noon tomorrow at right out of the gate at 9. I'm hoping we get more than 45 seconds of the interview because when I welcome him in, Chris Finch, Second Harvest Heartland, 2harvest.org. Nordo, the producer, tells me you guys are trying to trade for Ja Morant.
I always love that one.
Can you confirm or deny?
Do you think he'd buy into the ruse if he just noticed, like, okay, well, you've asked me now 4 just general questions about Ja Morant when Memphis is not on our schedule.
Right.
We just, Ant came back. We beat Brunson and Cat last night at MSG. You're asking me about Ja's pull-up game.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on here? But we shall see.
I hope Anthony plays tonight. I did not realize that A, he practiced yesterday, and B, that he's questionable tonight. So that's good news with things getting good in that hood.
Indeed, and I just got this from the text line. Very good point. Added benefit for Ja Morant. Minnesota is an open carry state.
I always love that one.
Gone with that 64686.
Weird goal to end the Wild game.
Call up, poke check by Johansson. The Wild have numbers here. Johansson in open ice for Kaprizov. Over the blue line right side, Kaprizov dropped it back, Faber, back to Kaprizov, hacked it in front on it and pushed the net off. They score! They score! They're going to give it a good goal to the Wild, and Marcus Johansson has won it in overtime!
Man, I still don't, it's intentionally pushed. The goal is off the moorings, so I get how that ends. I wasn't aware that effectively you would still allow play and just kind of he passed it over the goal line where the goal should have been, and it was a winner. You talked with Russo. Marcus Johansson has been terrific through these 14 games. I think he already has 6 goals. You dig that, and we need offense, so we dig JoJo doing his thing. And the Minnesota Wild now have won 2 in a row. They cap off their home stretch with 2 consecutive victories. You saw William get his second or third, I think it was his third goal to make it 2-1. 0.3 seconds left in the freaking third, and Stamkos, the sniper that he is, finds his way to the net to force OT. But it's cool that the Wild leave Minnesota now with 4 points in their last 2 games. We dig that and got to keep it rolling. And it's cool because I think we're going to have the head coach to talk about how they keep it rolling next segment, right?
Heinze begins the 11 at FM 100.3 KFAN.